As they come to a new country, they're gonna be like a new signing for a club, you know, and everyone is just like, yo, good to have you here. Yeah. Changed my mindset, and I knew that the bigger problem is not even racism. It's the origin, where it comes from, you know, just this segregation and separation you're mentioning based on...
I think everybody should create their own path. I think nowadays it's even more possible. And that's what we're doing right now too. What do you think is the right way to live?
It's like, damn, what am I doing? You know?
Am I failing at racism?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even good at it.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to the Grillcast.
Yeah, to the Grillcast. And this is, or maybe, the name of the podcast is Robelhood.
Yeah, Robelhood is good.
Robelhood, not Robin. Robelhood podcast. And today we have Tino Tenda, the musician, the creative, the genius.
AKA.
And my best friend. You know?
TCM Candy.
TCM Candy.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a nice conversation.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
So what's going on, bro?
Good. So, where should we start? How is it? Where are you from? And you can introduce yourself too. I don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you bothering yourself? Yeah, so of course, as he already said, my name is Tino Tenda Mukandi. Christwish is my middle name, also known as TCM Candy. And I'm a creative. I make music. Occasionally I make beats. I also produce music, like mix, master. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's me. And of course I've known Robel for, it's been a while, almost 5 years now.
5 years.
Yeah.
Time runs.
Yeah. It's and of course we share a really great relationship, and I like what he does with the cameras, and of course as a person, and he likes what I do as a musician, and of course he says I'm a great guy too.
Of course.
So we're pretty much out here blowing each other's trumpets. No homo.
No Didi.
No Didi. But basically that's how we got here. Yeah.
But that's nice.
Yeah.
So how is it like in Zim, like before you came here in Poland?
Zim was crazy, bro. Like it's a nice place. You know, it's a very beautiful place. We obviously have like some really cool natural resources. We can start with Victoria Falls. You already know. It's like a really crazy, beautiful, nice place.
Harare.
Yeah, Harare, capital. Yeah, that's where I'm from. 26304.
Don't tell them your house number.
I just dropped the code, you know. It's just like the phone code. So
okay.
But it's a nice place, man, and of course it's where the legendary Robert Mugabe is from. You know, it's popular for different reasons, and basically, it's a cool place. And back to your question of the state, I guess that's what you were asking, how it was before I left.
Like I don't know, like
the economy, like or the social life.
Yeah, the social life, and maybe where you studied, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
did you start music there, like in Zim, or?
That's a good question. You know, I was making music like when I was like 14 with my brother, and crazy stuff. We made our first song off a Chris Brown beat, you know, Deuces.
Yeah.
We went to the studio and we had we had our lyrics and everything set up, and our beat, and then the beat that we were supposed to use was malfunctioning somehow. And then the guy was like, okay, let's just look for, a random beat. It doesn't matter. And yeah, we got Deuce's beat, the instrumental, and we made a song called Paper Ain't an Issue.
Paper Ain't an
Yeah,
Issue?
it's not on the internet, but the OGs know.
You gotta send me that.
Yeah.
Do you have it still? Or?
I think I can find it somewhere in my drives, at home. And yeah, it was pretty cool.
Nice.
But we were like 14, and yeah, I remember the guy played the song for a random guy who came from in the studio after he had just done a rough mix and stuff, and he was like, "Oh, did you hear the Deuces remix?"
Yeah.
And the guy was like, no, because it was popping at that time. And he played our song, and the guy was like, "Oh, this kind of fire, And he was like, "Who did this?" And then the guy was like, "Psych, it's these guys." And and the guy was like, "No way," And it was kind of like just a moral boost,
Okay.
Yeah. And that's when we were like, oh, we can actually keep up with this, and just kept making music until now.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah. But beside what's do you have any good memory there? Like, of course you do, but maybe when you studied, or what did you do there? Besides, music.
Yeah, I mean, you already know the kind of person I am.
Yeah.
And I'm like really outgoing extrovert. So, of course, I have like a lot of memories, and it's hard to actually pick one memory that kind of stands out. But in general, I would say that the thing that's like the major highlight when I look back at my time in Zim is mostly just the people.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the treasure of Zimbabwe, like the people, The people are really cool.
Yeah. But you only miss them when you go out, right?
Kinda, yeah, because you get used to it, and you're just whatever. Because it's a day-to-day, and it's part of our culture to be nice to each other, and to just be sociable, and just have love.
But that's what happened to me. Like I think I hated going out, and then as soon as I went out from Ethiopia, I started missing it, and I started to remember the good old days, I guess.
Yeah. Well, what do you miss the most, except the food? I mean,
I think family most, right? And the people,
Yeah, it's usually something to do with the people, because the rest of the stuff, you can pretty much get it almost everywhere. Like I can make salsa here. I'm not gonna be crying about that.
I mean, it's hard to make injera here, but
I know.
I guess.
I mean, I don't know who came up with the idea of making injera a 5-day process or something, but
but I think they're making it quicker now because they, I don't know, you add some yeast to it and stuff, and then you just can make it quickly.
They got some cheat codes now.
Yeah, cheat codes. GTA
Injera 2.0, yeah.
Yeah. But when did you come to Poland?
2019.
19, right?
Yeah, 2019. End of 2019.
We actually met the first day you arrived, right?
Yeah, I remember you guys were at the reception with Ekaterina, I guess.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, you must be Tino, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And you guys were just like there looking at me like, who's this guy? And I remember mostly the person that actually strikes an image when I think of the first day I met you guys was Joni.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was just like, the guy who's just like, very active, and he was already like, he's been years here. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
But why did you decide to come to Poland, or it's just a spontaneous decision?
I wouldn't say it was really a decision. I mean, it was just more like, that's that stage where I was saying,
Yeah,
I
this
hope
thing
they
will smoke.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because we have to spread this reddish, I guess,
Yeah.
before we start.
By the way, we're doing barbecue.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not burning shit.
Yeah, exactly. A good time to do it. It's not as hot as it was before.
Yeah.
Because
summer is going out.
yeah, but during the day, you remember it was like 33 today. It was insane. Yeah. But now it's pretty chill. And what were we talking about? By the way?
Yeah, like
why
did
I
you,
came.
you know,
Yeah. It wasn't my decision, to be honest. At that time, I was just in Zim, and I mean, I couldn't find a job at that time, and yeah, I was after my first degree, my first studies, and just like, yeah, I'm just chilling, just hustling a little bit, and my sister just told me like, oh, I met someone who says they know an agent who can help you to study in Poland if you want, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know why she even said if you want, because I wasn't doing anything else at that time. She needed my consent, of course, but I was like, but what else am I doing? Yeah.
But I sound like a Polish person, like why Poland, you know? But
Yeah, if I ever make a website for immigrants living in Poland, I think.
Why Poland?
Yeah, it will be on the frequently asked questions section, you know. Why Poland?
Whypoland.com.
Yeah, it's a very frequently asked question, but yeah, it's normal. It's curiosity, I guess.
It is.
Yeah, but basically that's how I came, and I was like, okay, cool, I would love to, you know. And then we just started processing the paperwork and stuff, and eventually it worked out, and
I mean, the same with mine too. I think I would go anywhere.
Yeah, at that time it was like, you know, I was living a pretty routine lifestyle, and I was just like kind of bored at that time, because I knew what I was going to do every day, and it was the same old stuff.
Do you like it here?
Yeah, I love it, to be honest. It's pretty cool. I mean, I think the people are cool, and I mean, look around us, you know. I like the fact that the natural spaces are well kept.
It is,
you know, and for me that's very important, because, you know, I mean, all the other stuff that the people made are cool, you know, the tall buildings and all this stuff, but yeah, I'm fascinated by, you know, trees, rivers, all this stuff. It's just like, how, you know. Yeah. So,
I guess we have the same taste. I like nature too. I mean, and they really kept it well. I mean,
yeah. I was watching this guy. You know this guy who just walks around? I think he's British, and he asks people, "Do you have a dream?"
Yeah.
I watched one of his interactions with this young guy, and it was really crazy. He asked this guy, "Do you have a dream?" And the guy says, "Yes, my dream is to fly." And some people in the comments were saying he was on shrooms, but he was just like kind of philosophizing.
Maybe he's talking about reindeering.
Probably, yeah. He just said to fly. It was pretty broad, but I like where he went with the conversation eventually, because I mean, when the guy says, "Do you have a dream?" he's talking about material stuff. And the guy was just saying that, in a nutshell, he was just saying that the best things are already free for us, you know, because he was asking like some really thought-provoking questions. He asked, for example, he said, "Can you fashion better than skin?" Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah, it's deep. And he asked like, "Can you sing better than sex?" And those were like,
that's the best melody.
It was deep, you know. He was just pretty much saying that we already have like all the best things that we can't recreate, or we can create whatever we want, but it will never be as good as what we already have from nature.
Exactly.
So you look at a plane and it's really cool, But when you watch a documentary about an eagle and how it flies, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, I think God is the best designer.
Yeah, it's like next level. You just can't fathom it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just cheating, on the paper.
Yeah, we're just trying to do some duplicates and some bootlegs of what he already did. But
Excuse me, do you have a dream?
Everyone has dreams whenever they want.
Sadly, not everyone does have dreams, but what's your dream?
Fly.
You want to fly?
What's the dream?
My dream is to help people realise they can do anything. I believe people can do anything. They don't realise how amazing they are.
It's true.
But I like actionable dreams because then it proves that it's possible.
What do we really want?
What do you really want?
A building of love. It's a building, but it's a building where?
Where do you get this deepness from?
We're in paradise.
We don't even realise it, you mean?
People forget. Really, everything beautiful has already been created. Can you fashion better than your skin? Can a man paint better than God? Can you paint better than the eye? Can paint?
I don't think so.
No. Can you sing better than sex? No. So these dreams, they're great for the purpose of finding yourself, and then you need to let go of that mask. Otherwise it's gonna consume you.
What do you do for a living?
Work in construction. If Monkey wants to build, at least he should honor God and make it beautiful.
You're gonna watch us eat.
it's not a food rating show, but yeah, is what it is.
You know this guy Keith Lee?
Keith Lee?
Yeah.
Who is he?
He's like
What's he about?
Food reviewer.
Ah,
It's like
okay.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, I know these guys. They always have to complain about something.
Yeah.
I was really curious about this thing about immigration because what do you think? Because I hear a lot of people say some negative things sometimes about, for example, their experience here. And what do you think are some of the mistakes people make when they move abroad?
I think too much expectations. First, like you expect the people to welcome you. I mean, even if they don't, who are you to expect to be welcomed? Like, you just you're no one, and I think coming to truth to that early, it will reduce much pain. And the people are actually nice if you give them a chance to, be friends with them, talk to them, and not just judge them by far. And I think living as an immigrant is tough, but also you chose this path, so you can't really complain. I could live in Ethiopia, but I am here. So, of course it comes with its own consequences. So I have to live with it, but I can't really complain about Poland.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Yeah.
And I share the same sentiments with you, that I think people sometimes kind of come with a whole bunch of expectations, and they think like as soon as they come to a new country, they're gonna be like a new signing for a club, and everyone is just like, yo, good to have you here. We can't wait to see what you're gonna do for us, but it's not like that. And I think also a lot of people don't play their part in assimilating into the society. Like, for example, here in Poland, I mean, of course, a greater number of the Poles are speaking Polish, right? And a lot of people don't put like any effort to learn the language, And then when you meet with the Poles, it's difficult for them as well, because first of all, they have to deal with just the mere fact that you're a stranger. Before we talk about, you being, having a different color and a different culture, you're a stranger, they don't know you, you don't know them. Already that creates a bit of anxiety, right? And then secondly, you look different to them, so they don't know what to expect from you, and you don't know what to expect from them, right? And then thirdly, you're trying to get them to speak in a foreign language that they probably haven't used in years. Some of them only use English in school, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not going around talking with their friends in English. Why would they do that?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if you were a Zimbabwean, we would probably be talking in Shona for most of the time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I think sometimes we make it difficult for them as well by not playing our part to integrate into the society by just putting a little bit of effort into things that we can actually work on, like learning the language, learning the norms and values, you know, and this kind of
true.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think about I mean, I hear a lot of people ask me like, oh, what about racism, you know, and all this.
Yeah. Racism, I mean, it's kind of controversial, my thoughts, but I think in my own country I face more racism than here. You know, like in Ethiopia, we are always fighting with this tribe, this thing.
So basically, segregation and
yeah, and like
based on certain parameters, you know.
yeah, nowadays the people are afraid to choose a different university because it's in that
Other region.
it's in that region, or you can't start a business because if it's in this region. And so the way I see it is as kind of, you know.
Yeah, it just makes it difficult. Yeah.
I can't.
Sorry.
I can't really judge the Poles for being racist to me because my own people are. So.
Yeah, I think I also had like a very interesting insight on this because before I came to Poland, I was living in a different part than I grew in for quite a while, like 6-7 months. I was living in a totally different region, and it was in a village because I was doing some business there. And bro, just like you said, I wouldn't say racism because we were all black in this place.
Yeah.
But the
is
segregation, the segregation that I faced there, just because I came from Harare and these guys were from there, I talked differently. Of course, I looked different. I mean, we were both black, but the way I dressed, the way I talk, my whole demeanor was different from them. And sometimes I'm just going to some different place, you know, and I just want to participate in something. You know, they're doing something and I'm like, oh, can I join? And they're like, nah, you wouldn't manage this or something this. Just because, you know, I'm from the city or something, and they're like city boy, cheese boy, you know. He don't know nothing about how we do things around here. He wouldn't be able to do this. He's not tough enough to do this, or, you know, all these things. And I was like, but why are they, you know, just treating me like this, you know? So in this place, I was facing the same problem that you were talking about, like just struggling to be accepted and to be treated equally, you know, for different reasons. Some people would just automatically just hate on me as soon as I touch down, you know, like, oh, there he is, he thinks he's
who do you think you are?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even say anything, do anything yet, and they're like, oh, he thinks he is, or something like that. And I think this whole thing is the bigger problem. This whole segregation based on certain parameters like race, your place of origin,
district, you know, like even in the cities, you know, oh, this guy's from the rich town, or like, from this, you know, people somehow find a way to separate themselves. And, you know, feel some pride about
it's some ism and schism, you know. You know, racism, sexism, you know, classism. There's always some kind of stuff like this, and even amongst themselves, Poles have this. The guy from Warsaw looks down on the guy from a random village in the middle of nowhere in Poland. They're like, you know, go back to farming potatoes. You know, so when sometimes when I have situations with certain people. It goes back to expectations, like what
Yeah.
you were saying. I'm not trying to normalize this kind of segregation, but at the same time, when I see people doing it amongst themselves, and I was also a victim of it amongst my own people, yeah, it kind of changed my mindset, and I knew that the bigger problem is not even racism.
Yeah.
It's the origin, where it comes from. You know, just this segregation and separation you're mentioning based on any little thing, you know.
Yeah, I think racism is like this, the thing we blame just for this bigger and deeper problem we have as a society, as a human. I
Yeah.
guess, you know.
And it's easier to, and also it also stems from the fact that it comes from a factual affiliation of us, for example, being black, and we're the same race, and you can't deny that you're black, I can't deny that I'm black, you know. So we can then get together and say, let's fight racism to protect our race. But when it comes to classism, for example, it's not many people who want to unite and say we're poor and we want to be treated better or something. A lot of people are going to start by denying that they're poor in the first place. So these underlying issues are not really properly addressed because they're kind of subjective. You can't force someone to say it's quite objective, but when it comes to the other things, like I say, classism, when you talk about classes, it's not everyone who's gonna say I'm middle class, even if the numbers kind of suggest so. And when you talk about sexism, when you say, oh, man, let's unite, you know, some guys are gonna say I identify as something else. So the other parameters are not as easy to, you know, group everyone in one basket. That's why racism, I think, is a bigger thing.
Yeah, but what do you think? I know it's a hard question, and I don't expect you to answer it easily. But like, what do you think the solution is? Like,
To what?
to this, you know, like.
I think I'll just quote wise man once said. I hear that the original quote was from Marcus Garvey, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to cross-check my facts, but it was also sang in the song Redemption Songs by Bob Marley. Yeah. And he says, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds, you know. Exactly. And this whole thing is like, sometimes, yeah, I mean, I've been a victim of racism a couple of times, and yeah, I wouldn't need anyone to tell me how it feels like. But also, what I also learned from it is that a lot of the times it's how you allow yourself to react to it that actually matters more than what the other person does, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because, for example, in Poland, the cases of racism are usually verbal and just like basically no contact. You know, someone will say something, someone will do something to provoke you, but usually they don't make any contact with you. So they're not hurting your physical. And in that case, usually you have an option to deal with it mentally and just eject it from your being and just find a way to reject it and deal with it mentally. And they'll be the fool. And usually when you don't even react to people who act stupid, it gets them thinking, you know, like when you're like so non-responsive, it's like, damn, what am I doing? You know?
Am I failing at racism?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even good at it.
Thought I was good at this shit. You know?
Exactly. So when you're on a higher frequency and you realize that, oh, they're trying to get me to act, and you are like non-responsive, the person who's trying to offend you just makes a fool of themselves, and they may not do it in the moment, but I'm sure at some point it gets them thinking like, what the heck am I doing? You know?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, but because if you react and fight with them, you're exactly giving them what they want.
Exactly.
And I mean, I've been in a situation too.
Yeah.
So it's hard to control, but like I think the best answer is just silence and ignoring, and like acting like they don't matter, because they don't.
They don't. Yeah. And, and when you master this concept, it's like, yeah, it just drains all the power in them, because because when they're doing it, their incentive is you reacting and seeing, oh, what will he do when I do this? And when you don't do anything, it's just like, they just walk away with nothing, and it just kind of opens their eyes to see how broken they are. That they're in this deep, miserable state, and they want everyone to be like them, and then you refuse to go down to their level, and then now they're just looking up at you like, oh, he refused to be pulled down,
I heard this quote like but there was this professor, I think, and there was this street guy, and then this professor is like drinking some coffee in streets.
Yeah.
And then this guy came to him, and he just wanted to provoke him, like, and he just stayed silent, like, he's not reacting to it. He's insulting him. He's coming up with the best insults probably he ever heard of, but the guy was like, I'm not gonna react. And the people were surprised, and they asked him like, what do you do? Like, I mean, if this guy was fighting me in the classroom, then I probably would answer, but this is his territory. So
we're on different frequencies.
So in his territory, he's the winner, so I'll just let him win. And probably he's not winning, but like, you know what I mean? Just
just let him run his mouth and satisfy himself. It's like when like we can learn a lot from animals, when for example, when a lion goes to drink water, it never messes with the crocodile in the water, because it knows it's not a water animal. But when the crocodile comes on the land, and there's no water around, the lion is like, okay, now this is my space, And it just goes back to what you're saying about, it's his territory, he's a street guy, and if you're a professor, then probably you're most comfortable.
He probably preferred to write his insults.
Exactly. I mean, if you have a debate with the professor, he'll probably sleep in the library, researching his arguments.
But this racist concept is it's really interesting to me, and I think we talked about this before too, but I think the solution, like you said, is just freeing yourself from this whole bullshit and just
because it's people just trying to mess with your mind. That's pretty much it, because
I'm not going that road, bro.
Exactly. I mean, not only racism, all this segregation, all this ism and schism is mostly about just someone who's down low and in a very bad place. For example, in the case of racism, it's one guy from one race who hasn't really done anything for himself in this life, who sees a person from another race, gets mentally threatened, or his ego is challenged because, for example, he sees the other person is maybe, I don't know, in some aspect more successful than him, or admirable, basically, admirable to him in one way or the other. And he tries to dismiss this admiration by trying to pull down the other person based on color, sex, class, or whatever the reason can be.
Anything.
But basically it's his insecurities, exposing themselves, like, oh, he's making more money, but look, he's this or that, which is stupid, and that's why it's not worth even paying
Yes.
attention to these kind of people, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a great insight. I love it.
And what about we were talking about, whilst we were talking about people being down and low, what do you think about depression?
Depression. I think depression is not being you know. And when you're not acting on your highest self, and then you keep doing that for a longer amount of time, then of course you're going to have some argument with yourself, because there's some part of you who wants to do better, do all
Free
this-
themselves,
to
basically.
free
Yeah.
themselves, and that guy is knocking on the door like, let me out, bro, like what's happening? And then you're just like caged in fear, and
Yeah.
like you don't want to
You're panicking in the control room, yeah.
in the control room, and then you're not giving it a space to express yourself. So that's when depression comes. And I believe depression is just having a war inside of you with your other self, you know, like, because you have
potential
different
self, yeah.
personalities inside you, and you have to let it out. If you don't let it out, then it will blow up inside you, you know.
That's a very interesting insight you're just sharing, because it just gave me this vision of being in a cockpit and you're the pilot, and you know you're supposed to be flying at a certain altitude, and you're flying at a lower altitude, and the passengers, which is the other personalities you're talking
yeah.
about, are in the back, and they're like, "Yo, Captain, what's going
Yeah, exactly.
what's going on?"
Yeah. Let me out.
You know, and you're just like, you know, you don't want to tell them that you can't handle, you're not as in control as you should be, because they trust you.
Yeah.
And the moment you tell them that, guys, we're going down, everyone is going to panic.
Yeah.
And you're all alone in this cockpit, and you're just panicking, but you can't tell the other guys, you know.
Yeah.
But you know that you should be doing better, you should be in control.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's true. Like, I think depression should come because you have to go sometimes in your own personal journey into some danger zones so that you can learn and grow, you know, because you can't grow and learn unless you put yourself in some uncomfortable situations and, you know, do all these things you've never done before, you know. So
that's for real, bro.
if you're stopping from doing that, then of course you're gonna have some depression, and I think action would solve it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this because I'm perfect, because I deal with it.
Yeah, I was about to, dude, let's mention this stuff, because I think this is ready, or at least we can try, you know what I mean?
Yeah. This looks delicious though.
Yep. And stuff is good, actually.
How did you?
I borrowed my mom's hands.
Wait,
You know how the moms just be handling
bro.
all the hot shit, and they're just like, oh yeah, like how?
Probably they will, you know, make the fire with their hands.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I met a guy who's a psychologist, and I asked him about depression because I was very interested about this concept. He told me that depression it starts off as you being stressed about something. Yeah. I wish everyone could taste these ribs though. Yeah, so you're stressed about certain thing, right? And then you don't do anything about it for certain reasons. So it's not fear shaming or something. You may be afraid. You may not have the physical power or ability to resolve the situation that's stressing you. But basically, he was saying if you cannot handle or deal with that situation for some reason, this situation will start to get worse, yeah? And so does your stress levels. And then when it's like, so it can be this one thing blowing out to be a really, really big problem that also internally accumulates as a big problem within your headspace, and eventually, because this problem is occupying most of your mind most of the time, now you're not able to laugh as much as you used to. You're more sad than happy most of the time. And in this moment, when you're now in a constant mood of like sadness, misery, and just being low all the time, then, and you don't feel like doing anything that actually brings happiness back, that's when you're officially depressed. That's what he told me.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And you have a needs and wants as a human, you know. And in my case, most of the time, it's about fear.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of maybe people's judgment, or I'm afraid of maybe the sky is falling down. You know, like this kind of things your mind creates, and if I don't face with them, then of course I'm going to be in trouble in my own mind, and yeah, it's a constant battle with yourself. I think Jim Carrey said it's like a deep rest or something. Depression is a deep rest, and it's like when you're so tired of being showing this fake persona to people, then that's when you are like depressed, and your body and your mind
need to
is
take
saying,
a deep rest.
yeah, just like need to take a deep rest, you know, like I don't want to show this fake face to everyone. I just want to let the real me out.
Yeah.
And I think that's
That's a good explanation to it. I don't know what clinical depression is, to be honest, but based on the depression that the psychologist told me, I think we can agree that it goes back to what you were saying. Like, it's still somehow within your control. That because if you're not acting on certain things, I mean, there are things that are outside your control.
of course.
For example, if someone dies, you can't do anything about that.
Yeah. I mean, we're not in control of everything, but we're somehow in control of most things. I believe, like, some people would like to say, like, oh, you're in control of your life, or this or that,
Yeah.
or you're not in control. But I think somewhere in the middle we have control, and there's some things we cannot. Like you said, death, or just this natural phenomena you cannot control, like the volcano or the rain, or,
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
this kind of things. But some of the things we do have control, and if we can do just a little bit of those things, I think we can feel more confident and more proud of ourselves, and we can, you know, reconcile with ourselves.
Yeah, because I think also social media has contributed a lot
Of course.
to depression, because I think when you go on social media right now, all you see is the ideal state of things. And no one is out there showing what they're really going through in the real life, you know. And this creates a lot of pressure on a lot of people. And a lot of people feel like they're underperforming, you know, because your classmate is posting that they already bought their second car or whatever. And you're like chilling in your mom's bedroom, you know. It's damn, what am I doing with my life, you know? And it's just, this is one thing. And on another thing, I feel like also there's a lot of people who abuse the depression state. Like they make
I'm glad you came to that.
yeah, like sometimes there's a thin line between being soft and being depressed. You know, there's times when life is just being life and you have to deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you already said, I'm not saying this as, you know, the life guru or someone who's like hitting the right shots all the time or something. But yeah, I'm also a bit tired of people who are just like making it as an excuse, like
Not to do something.
exactly. Well, I'll tell you an example. I was living with two guys, right? Hope. We have duties to clean the house, right? And then one guy, it was his duty to clean the house. He didn't clean during his week. Eventually, I just cleaned for him because I didn't know what was going on, and I was just like, and it was affecting me anyway, just living in a dirty house. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna confront him or something like this, and and then the following week, I asked him like, oh, you were on duty last time, you didn't clean, what's up, you know? And he told me that he was sorry he couldn't do it, but he was depressed during that week, so he couldn't clean. But the guy was eating. He was cooking. He was cooking. He was going to work, doing everything else, but he didn't clean. And then he said he was depressed. I was like, okay, maybe I don't know much about depression. Let me just not, you know, because what can I say when someone says something like that? You know, I was like, okay, cool. And then next week was the other guy who was supposed to clean. He also didn't clean. These are two different guys. These guys didn't talk to each other, for sure. They were not, because one guy speaks Polish, the other guy speaks English. And they were not even on a friendship level or something like this. The other guy didn't clean as well. I asked him the next week as well. And guess what? He told me exactly the same answer. He said I was depressed. And yeah, and I don't know what they were going through, both of them at that time in their lives. But my question to myself was, so if I was depressed, then for 3 weeks we would have a dirty house and no one would clean anything because we're a bunch of depressed adults. And so yeah, we're not gonna clean, you know.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of use of depression that I'm telling you kind of strips away and takes away from the people who are actually like really depressed, you know, because there is a bunch of other people who are just like
Faking it.
yeah, and just using it as an escape route, you know, for not being accountable for their actions. And they're just like, oh, sorry buddy, depressed. And they know you can't press them about it, you know. So that's what kind of pisses me off now. Like, there's people who are actually deeply depressed, you know, their father died or something and they can't even get out of bed for a whole week because it's just that much for them, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy who's doing everything else, but a couple of other things that they should do, and they know when they're asked about this, they're gonna pull out the depression card. Then.
Yeah. It's like the black card.
Yeah, exactly. And this is my problem with this whole thing, and it's unfortunate there's no like objective definition or diagnosis that can show, you know, when someone has, for example, chickenpox or monkeypox, they can say I have monkeypox and they have clean skin, you know. When they have monkeypox, you can see the pimples and everything. So
A depressed person.
yeah, if they tell you that's what's up, how do you argue it, you know?
Yeah. But I want to ask you this following question.
Yeah.
When you were in Zim, did you like when did you like hear about this depression term more often? Like, was it there or here? Like,
I first heard it when I was here, to be honest. Like, in Zim, it's all about stress, because stress is something that someone can point out. Like, I'm stressed about my rent, you know, and we know how to fix it. You know what I mean? It's okay, so if you have the money, you can. And there's like, it's a traceable thing, and sometimes depression, it's like, it's a lot of things going on at once, and it's you don't really know what to point and what to say is the main culprit, you know. So that's how complicated it is. And stress is like, but it builds up anyway, the stress.
Yeah. Because in Ethiopia, I don't know, in my experience, I don't know, maybe it's different with other people, but I didn't hear the term depression that much. Like, it's just like life, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just someone dies or someone do this, do that. It's like, I guess, just deal with it. But here it's like, it's more labeled and more sensitive, you know? Like,
yeah, I also feel like there's also a bit of marketing into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was in Bydgoszcz, it was really interesting. I walked down like a road about 4 kilometers. In those 4 kilometers, I saw 3 billboards that were talking about depression, and it was like, are you always sad? Are you always, like, some questions, and have you talked to a psychologist or something, or to someone, you may be depressed, blah blah blah. So after seeing all these billboards and knowing that they cost money to put up, I was asking myself if these were the most caring people in the world, or something is going on. You know?
Yeah.
Like, what's really going on? You know, are people all of a sudden so concerned about our mental health, or they're trying to sell something? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we're just giving it a name, but I think, isn't life stressing and depressed at all times then? Like, if we're saying, oh, you're not happy, most of the time we're not happy. Like, we're just existing, you know? Like,
I mean, maybe
you should, and expecting happiness is sometimes, for me, bullshit, because why would I want to be happy all the time? Like, laughing and just, you know,
yeah, then it wouldn't be glorified anymore. It wouldn't be as enjoyable anymore, because it's now a constant state of being.
Yeah, it's a feeling that comes now and
goes,
then.
Yeah.
And there are other feelings I should feel, like maybe I'm sad or joy
anxious,
or fear, anxious, this, that, this, and I should be feeling all of them. And but just labeling it as a depression, I think.
What if depression is just lifing a little bit harder than the rest of the times?
Yeah, I mean, in that case, all these Germany philosophers are like all depressed, like, you know, this Nietzsche and stuff. I read some of their books, and they're just saying, or this Stoic, like, life is not life is not happiness all the time and stuff. And I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
But is life tough? Of course
it is. It is.
That's something we gotta all deal with, I guess. You know?
Nah, that's facts, bro. That's facts. It's it's a difficult subject, because I think it also has it's also influenced a lot by culture and traditions, you know. In for example, in Zimbabwe, you can't even afford to be depressed. Because by the time you're like laying in bed and stuff, you know, like the rent is ticking. You know, your children need to eat and all this stuff, and stuff is just happening so fast, and it's like probably that's why I never really heard much about it, because people are just like so busy trying to make things happen, you know, trying to make things work, and yeah.
But what do you think is the right way to live? You know?
The right way to live.
Yeah. Or is there even a right way to live? Like,
well, I think that's a good question, and you already know I'm a Christian, so I guess Christianity is a way of life.
it is.
Yeah, it is a way of life actually, because it's not just saying like do this when you're in church or something like this. It's like do this in your life, you know. So basically, that's the way of life I subscribe to. I don't do it too well, I guess, but that's what I believe
does,
at least. Yeah, but at least that's what I know, actually, not just believe. That's what I know is the best way to live, because when you think about what Jesus said when he was asked what is the most important thing to do to get into heaven, he just said like to love God with all your power and all your might, and the second one was addressed to us and society, and he says love your neighbor as you love yourself. And if you think about it, if you love the next guy as you love yourself, then there's no racism. Then you don't steal from the other guy. You don't talk about the other guy behind their back. And it just solves everything.
Exactly.
So it's a way of life. That's what I subscribe to.
Yeah, it's true. It's a ripple effect. That if you are not doing the things you don't want to happen to you, then, you know,
life would be good, you know.
it would be good, because you'll take care of the other people, then they will take care of you too.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess the reason why we're in such a mess in the world right now is because we're not doing this, you know. We want us to be loved a little bit more than we love the other people, and yeah,
that's true. So maybe another question. What do you want to do in the future?
My future?
You talked a lot about the past, I think.
That's true. I'm just thinking about, I love to make music, and you know, one of the most difficult things I've found is breaking free from the concepts that was instilled in me when I was a kid, to say, for example, go to school, go to college, find a good job, retire in your 60s when you're useless, and then just live out the rest of your little life, you know, left.
Retirement.
Yeah, and this is tricky, because when you think about going for the things that you actually love, that fulfill you and make the most of your active years, because when you're after 60, you can still contribute to society, but usually with wisdom. And you're not as active physically as you are when we're at this age, where of course it makes a bit of a difference when you're physically more active. And in these years we're trained to pretty much be very routine and just be just another pawn in the system. You know, that's what it is, you know, get a job, go on vacation once a year and stuff like this, you know. And then when you think about it now, when you see that, well, it's actually possible to do what you love, work hard at it, and, you know, be able to do 10 vacations a year and work from wherever you want to work, and all this stuff that's happening now. The crazy part is you have to put in a lot of work and take a lot of risks to be able to be at a point where it's now like fully set. And that's what's really scary, you know, like because when you think about a job, you know, these guys are paying for your health insurance. they're taking care of a lot of, you know, paperwork behind the scenes. They're doing this and that, and Yeah, it's kind of comfortable. It's not as rewarding, but it's kind of comfortable. It's
Yeah, they just keep you in that space, right?
yeah, exactly. Where you can't say you have it all, but you're like,
I'm almost
but
there.
they're good. They're good folks. You know, yeah. Yeah.
I feel you. Yeah, I share this vision too. Like, I am against this
The
learning
system, the
path.
Babylon, yeah, it's the Babylon.
path, you know. I think everybody should create their own path. I think nowadays it's even more possible, and that's what we're doing right now too. You know,
Yeah,
like
it
doing
is.
what we love,
Yeah.
talking about shit.
Yeah. But
trying to live out of it. You know what I mean?
yeah, I like what you just brought about creating your own path, and I think that's why we're most scared, because we want to go on the path that has been walked and there's a trail, and you know we have that assurance that
Yeah.
people walk here every day. It must lead somewhere. You know?
Yeah. I mean, if everyone is going there,
Yeah,
surely there must
that's
be a
gotta
road.
be. Yeah. And when you have like your own compass and it just says, keep going north, that's where your goal is. And you know you're looking at the north that's being mentioned, you know, and it's just like a forest and there's no trail. It doesn't look like anyone has been there before.
Yeah.
It just creates a lot of fear. Like, what if there's wild animals?
Yeah.
You know, what if I won't make it to the other end? What if this? What if that? You know?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah. What if
But,
I want to go back?
You know, the what ifs are even here, you know, like in the normal path too. Like, what if I'm fired? What if I don't get promoted? What if this?
Yeah,
what
but
if that?
but because we're a lot of us on that path,
Yeah,
it's easier not to think about it. Yeah.
it's like since you have the same problem, the same what ifs with other people, then you get to talk about it and you just get to keep yourself in the same circle. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and it's kind of reassuring, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh,
You have it too.
Oh,
Yeah.
we both screwed.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're both good, you know, like, so
Yeah, it's comfort in numbers. Yeah.
yeah, but I think that we should go on our path and leave a trail, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
And leave some crumbs
Yeah,
around our
like
path so that other people can maybe, you know, take a path and maybe make their own branch, you know.
yeah, that's word, bro.
Yeah. But that's the difficult part.
It is. That's what has been difficult for me to break free from, because I already know what I want to do, but I'm like, what if it doesn't work out? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to do another interview again. I hardly passed the first one. Yeah. I know how hard it was to get this job. You know. And
Yeah.
it's crazy, but I guess it's getting dark and we have to soon close this up, right?
Yeah, sure.
But I was also meaning to ask you about, do you have any regrets so far in this life?
Regrets. Yeah, of course. I think I should have been more bold, I guess, in the things that I do.
But do you have like anything specific, or you just look at that state of
It's the state of mind where I'm just lowering myself
yeah
just so that I could be accepted, you know?
it's
Like-
it's hard to break out, you know, like
Yeah, because I have to act accordingly. I mean, I think it was Kanye who said it, we're all actors, you know? You know, and I was trying to act like everyone else so that I just could be accepted. And
yeah, because when you try to break free, it's like all your guys
do you
like,
think you are?
yeah, who's that guy?
yeah, so
We grew up together. Where do you think you're going?
yeah, and nowadays I just think about it and I was like, I should have just, you know, I could have been doing this a long time ago, you know. And the
That's
only
the word.
reason that I was stopping was. I
And thanks
wasn't
for coming up with this idea. We've been talking about the podcast for a while now, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that you took the action. And yeah, we just did it. You know, it's those kind of little steps that inspire me as well. You know,
Yeah.
just yeah.
And it's not
That's
even
why I like.
perfect, but you know.
Yeah, but
what I
that's
mean?
why I love you as a friend, because you do some daring stuff that sometimes I'm just like, wow, this guy is onto something, you know, and it just inspires me. Like, I need to just do what he did, and just, you know, I'm probably not gonna do exactly the same thing, but I'm doing something that I've always wanted to do as well. And I'm like, yeah, because Robel did something that we always talked about, and he did some action, and yeah.
Yeah, and it's true. Yeah,
I guess my only regret would be the COVID shot I took. Really, that's the only thing I look back and I was like, damn. Rather, what was that? Yeah, that was a very uncalled for, at least for people like me. I mean, I look at it and I just realize I bought into the propaganda, at least for people of my age, because I mean, I also had two cousins who died from COVID, and yeah, I know how crazy it was at some point, but I also think about it that, you know, we're young, we have really good genetics, we're healthy people, and we would have survived if, yeah. And I don't know what are the consequences in 10, 15 years, 20 years of this stuff, you know.
I think in 10, 15, 20 years we will forget about this, and I believe it's just.
Yeah, I just hope
It
and
wouldn't
pray.
matter, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, but I just hope and pray that there wasn't any biological consequences to it. You know, that was the only thing. I was just
so.
like, why was I so scared of this stuff? You know.
But we all know
They did a good job, though.
Yeah,
They had it on TV, internet, radio. It's like, damn.
I mean, they played themselves because now nobody will trust them. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if there's a new thing, I'm just like, okay,
another
it's
one.
more convenient to die.
DJ Khaled.
Yeah, it's another one, but I don't know, bro. But yeah.
But yeah, today this is what we have. We're gonna have to close this. I hope you enjoyed this.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we had a good convo.
Yeah. As always.
As always.
Yeah. I'm happy that we got to put on record one of our conversations.
Yeah, this is like the one of the many we had.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just nice that, you know,
it's recorded now.
The people from wherever they are can see, our next generation can see what we were talking about, and that's the cool thing about the internet, actually.
Yeah, you can share your thoughts, and you know.
Exactly.
You never know where it lands.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah. And for example, I would have wanted my dad and his best friend to have a similar conversation and just hear because there's things that I never got to pick his mind on, you know? And maybe just by hearing him talk with someone else, I could learn even more about
Exactly.
it. Yeah. But thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it too.
Yeah, man.
It was a nice time.
Of course.
And
as always.
we out.
Take care, guys.